What is up, guys? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Jenny says yes. Okay, sweet. So hopefully this microphone is better. If at all you stop hearing me, let me know. All right, so cool. So overall today we have this severe risk that is still on pace for a low-end conditional severe risk. Right now we are currently watching an area out to our west, which does have some showers and storms developing. Over Lake Michigan, for one, that is going to be a focus for potentially ruining instability for later today. But overall, let's go ahead and get started. So we have what we call a short wave coming through this afternoon, a part of a low pressure system that's going to spark off storms, potentially multiple rounds of storms. So if we could look at a few of the model guidances that came in overnight, not much has changed in terms of the afternoon time frame. We do have this model at noon today pushing some storms and showers into most of the state. As that works eastward, it starts to strengthen slightly. Nothing major is expected with this first line. That pushes through the Detroit metro area around 4 to 5 o'clock. And then behind that, you see these cells start to pop up around 6 o'clock over here in western Michigan. So, if you remember last night's discussion, we had mentioned that the best instability and the best wind shear was forecasted to occur after or around 8 p.m. That is still the case. We do expect the wind shear to ramp up later this evening. The main question is if the instability will be present, because if this first line comes through, as you see on the model here, if this model is correct, this first line moves through during the afternoon time frame, there's likely going to be some cloud debris left behind from that storm, and that may work to inhibit the instability for the later in the evening into the overnight hours. But this model still fires off storms even though this first line goes through. This is at 6 o'clock. I'll go ahead and run this through 7 here. Give me a second. Here's 6. There's 7. There's 8. And then there's 9. And then more storms that fire up behind that one. So we have potential for multiple rounds. The strongest storms, though, should be either during peak heating or just after peak heating around the 4 to 7 time frame and after that. This is the HRRR model. A lot of times, this HRRR model is drier than usual, so that may be underdoing the convective or the storm response that you're seeing on radar. So we could be looking at a few robust storms happening in western Michigan. So another model we have is the NAM Nest or the NAM 3. I actually have not seen, this is a new run just came out. It's loading right now. See what it says here. I have not seen this yet. But I'll go ahead and run this through. Here's 11, noon, 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock. And by 4 and 5 o'clock, you see these robust storms start to fire up right around the Lansing area. This is at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And this is where it starts getting concerning because the wind shear really starts to ramp up past 8 o'clock. So the storms that stick around past 8 and have good updrafts with them, they have potential for all hazards, including potentially a brief spin up tornado in southern Michigan. So, if we take this at face value, all I'm going to say is multiple rounds of storms are possible today. Severe weather is also possible. The biggest question will be the instability. We're going to be watching the real time data very closely. And I want to go ahead and switch this over to satellite really quickly so you guys can kind of see an idea of what we look for. So when you want this instability to build, you really want to see sunshine. And one of the things that we don't have right now, if we go ahead and click out to our west here in Illinois, this is a floater. I don't want this one. 1 second. Here we go. This is what I want. Here's a satellite map of Michigan. So you see how this is the cloud cover. So you see how all this cloud debris exists over here on Lake Michigan, Illinois, Wisconsin? That's pushing into Michigan currently. So we want to see, if you want to see severe weather, you want to see breaks in those clouds, and hopefully the clouds go away. But because we have this cloud debris moving into Michigan, it also throws a wrench in the forecast because the sunshine will go away, and then we're not going to see the instability build like we should. So the biggest question is, how is this cloud debris going to work with this afternoon's um, storms and also this evening storms? Here's your loop of this. You can see there's really nothing behind this cloud deck. So if it begins to thin out here, it might be actually pretty thin cloud deck to get through, which may allow more stability to build. So it's going to be something we have to watch through the afternoon to see how this huge debris of clouds really works. So with that being said, the overall takeaway from today, multiple rounds of storms possible in all of the state. Severe weather is possible. Wind and hail is going to be your main threats. The tornadic threat is very low today, although if storms can hold off until after the 7 to 8 p.m. time frame into the evening and overnight hours, those storms in southern Michigan will have the best tornadic potential. But again, everything is going to be conditional and dependent on the instability if it's there. So with that being said, I'll leave you with this. Let me switch it back over here to the SPC. The SPC has finally, not sure why it took them so long, but they finally caught on to the marginal risk being extended over to encompass the entire state of Michigan. So the dark green areas, that's your lowest level 1 of 5 threat. We could see this go higher. I honestly do expect it to go higher. I don't know why they haven't already. I know there's a lot of uncertainty there, but the way that the models are kind of hinting at tonight being, I would not be surprised to see that slight risk added at the 12:30 update or at the 4 p.m. update. We have 2 more updates to go through. We also have a 9 p.m. update, but that's usually a pretty much maintenance update. So the big updates will be at 12:30 and then at 4 o'clock. So we'll see if they add the slight risk over. But overall, the entire state really today has a threat for damaging winds, large hail, and then in southern Michigan, the threat for an isolated tornado is possible. All right, guys, with that being said, I will go ahead and answer some of these questions that I see here. So if you guys are going to ask specific locations, everybody today has a severe threat, okay? There's not one person in Michigan that does not have a severe threat. The highest threat will be in southern lower Michigans from Grand Rapids, Lansing, Detroit, Ann Arbor, Monroe, Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Coldwater, Colon, Hillsdale. Those areas are going to be in the highest threat that we think today. Any questions, guys? Let's scroll through chat here. Awesome. Man, you guys don't have many questions. What's up with this? 1 out of 10, how likely is it a slight risk for Southeast Michigan? So Southeast Michigan, man, I'm not the expert at the SPC to decide that, but if conditions come together, I would say it's likely we see a slight risk upgrade. But again, the confidence that we have right now is quite low, so that's why you're not seeing that upgrade. I'll probably just say 3 or 4 out of 10 right now would be the probability for that. And if we have more confidence that we could see some more instability this evening, it might go to a 5 or 6 or maybe even a 7. Yeah, Jordan, the Flint area is under the risk today. The overall threat in general right now is quite low for Flint. But again, any storm that does impact you does have potential for severe weather. That goes for any part of the state today. This sums it up, Tracy. It's Michigan. Wait 5 minutes, it'll change. This is exactly right. If you remember the last forecast that we had for like last week's storms, the system that we were tracking shifted 500 miles in a matter of 24 hours on the models. That is really rare to see, and it really just kind of threw us off. So it's Michigan. We could be forecasting severe weather 5 days, 4 days, 3 days, 2 days out, and by day 1, it's shifted. That's how Michigan goes. Jeanette, When you say Detroit, does that include Warren for high risk? So the highest risk will be, yeah, right around the Warren area. Anywhere south of 96, so Grand Rapids, Lansing, over to Flint, south. So yeah, Macomb County, Warren area, that is included in the highest risk. If you are on the western part of the state, um, never mind. I was going somewhere. I'll just hold off on that thought right now. Last night's models did show the western side of the state having a little bit better instability tonight, but this morning's models kind of spread that out all across southern Michigan. So there's a possibility the west side may see a little bit higher end instability, but as of right now, there's really nothing backing that. But um, I caught myself. So timing, Alex. So timing today, we could see storms at any point today. The highest, the highest risk when the dynamics come together is going to be after 8 p.m. So any storms after, 8 p.m. will have the highest potential for severe weather. The afternoon time frame, there is potential for some probably large hail and some gusty winds due to downbursts, but the overall wind shear doesn't ramp up until the evening time frame. So this afternoon threat will probably be really isolated and marginal. Not to say it's not going to happen, but we'll have to wait and see. What kind of rainfall totals are we looking at? Well, we are looking right around the 1 to 2 inches in most of south and central Michigan. If any thunderstorms happen to train or repeatedly go over the same areas, we could see locally higher amounts possible. Flash flooding is an issue today that we're kind of watching. So yeah, be on the lookout for some flash flooding as well. I have live music at my business in Tecumseh at 7 to 9:30. So if we're going based off strictly models, yeah, there's gonna be storm chances right around that time frame for you, Emily. Um, yeah, I'd say there's probably a good chance you're going to get impacted by some type of rain or storm during that time frame. All right, guys, this is a great question. Have you looked at Thursday's models? All right, so hold your thought on Thursday. We have a risk coming in for Monday that we're watching. So Monday comes first, then we can focus on Thursday and Friday. The overall takeaway from this comment, Matthew, is we do have an active pattern setting up, so we may have multiple chances of storms, rain, and potential severe weather in the upcoming week. So I have not looked at Thursday in detail. I have just caught my eye on Monday this morning, so expect a forecast to be out either late tonight or tomorrow, depending on how today goes. If it's busy today, I'll probably post it tomorrow, but I'll do a forecast for Monday if it bears a forecast. Cold water area for timing. Again, storms are possible all day today. The best threat and dynamics really come together after the 7 to 8 o'clock time frame. But again, severe weather is possible all this afternoon. So, Matthew, that's a great point. So, the SPC is the one who issues tornado risks, wind risks, hail risks, overall, the risk you're seeing on their screen. Um, the 2% tornado risk lies just off to the west in Illinois. And I believe they're going to extend that over, but again, only if the instability, we have more confidence in the instability hanging around. There is a good amount of wind shear, both speed shear and directional shear, that if storms this evening can become surface based, we could see some supercells and some tornadic risk do develop. Both Grand Rapids and Detroit NWS offices have hinted at that threat as well. The SPC is probably just waiting for more confidence to go ahead and issue that 2% tornado risk. So just because there's no risk from the SPC, although they're the experts, the overall environment tonight is favorable if instability does exist. So I'll have to watch it closely, but I would not be surprised to get that slight risk extended over, but also the tornado risk added. So just because there's no risk via SPC does not mean that there may not be a risk later on. Is it clear to kayak tomorrow? I'd say yeah, tomorrow in Southwest. Excuse me. The overall threat tomorrow, if there's going to be any storms, will be on the east and south side of the state. However, the models really don't have anything forming tomorrow, so you should be good for kayak. Yeah, overall, guys, everybody has a severe risk today. It's a low end threat, so it's not a very like it's not like a moderate or enhanced risk, but the overall environment does support severe storms. Everybody in this everywhere in the state today, so everybody has a risk. What's up, Jonathan? So Northwest Indiana currently is in the risk. I have not looked at much in the way of data down there, so I only really can answer for Southwest Michigan, which is probably the closest. But the overall threat this evening, into the afternoon and evening time frames for you guys over there, is about the same as up here, I'd say. Although the wind shear doesn't really crank up until after 8 p.m. So if any instability still lingers around the 8 p.m. and after time frame, that's going to be your highest threat for the damaging winds, large hail, and a possible tornado or two. Any other questions, guys? I do want to, excuse me, I do want to look at something really quickly. Before I hopped on here, I was looking at a line of storms developing over Lake Michigan. I'm gonna see if I can't pull that up really quick and see how it's doing. Yeah, here we go. You guys can see that? Awesome. So this is actually a new radar product I have. So hopefully this is a little bit better than the radar scope. For those of you who tune into our streams, radar scope has been laggy. So hopefully this radar product does a lot better. But we do have some storms heading up toward the Whitehall, Hart, Muskegon areas. Maybe some small hail. I see some hail indicators happening here. Half-inch size hail for that one and half-inch size hail for that one. So along the lakeshore here, Muskegon, Whitehall, Rothbury, Shelby, Hart, these areas right here, you could be getting some pretty good gusty winds and some small hail there. Go ahead and flip this over to base velocity. Yeah, nothing too major going on there. Just some small hail probably, but yeah, that's happening currently, and that's moving into the Muskegon north areas. What about Carlton and Monroe? You are under the threat today. The highest threat today is going to be late afternoon and evening for you. If any storms happen after 8 p.m., those will have the highest threat for severe weather. And again, we'll be live here covering this on radar and also with chasers in the field um, as needed today. So we'll have you covered. Ottawa County, you guys are under the risk today, although the overall risk for you guys is mainly for wind and hail. Clusters of storms up here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, pushing in toward the Manistee, Traverse City area, and all the way up into the UP here in Iron Mountain. They have some storms and showers developing and pushing into the area. So any of those storms really could right now produce some small hail, gusty winds. The overall instability doesn't really push in until about 2 o'clock this afternoon. So any severe weather should be suppressed until then. Could winds hit 65 plus? I It's possible microbursts, but the overall risk today is pretty subdued to, I'd say, some gusty winds from 50 to 60 miles per hour. I don't think there's going to be any higher in gusts unless we have like bow echoes and stuff form. But the overall wind shear doesn't really support that today. How do I get storm tracks on GR2? So GR2 is the radar product that I'm using. Um, it's actually not GR2, it's GR3. So I'm not really sure how I did it. I just got this yesterday and I played around with it and added some settings. Got my radar colors all picked out and stuff like that. I don't know how I turned those on. Oh, they're right there. There's an option right up here for them. You see my mouse circling it? Boom. St. Clair County, St. Clair County, you guys are in the risk today. Wind and hail is going to be your primary risk. Status for Edwardsburg. So Edwardsburg, right now you're in the clear, but later on this afternoon and evening, we do have a severe threat for you guys down there. So pay attention to that today. This is the area that we are watching overnight. And if you looked in the models last night, there was some indication that these may weaken as they come to the east, and that is the case. If you look on the loop of this product, we see that these storms really have weakened over the course of their journey. So now it's just a question of monitoring cloud cover and figuring out if we're going to have instability start to build in the atmosphere today. Wayne County, right now you guys are in the clear, but again, the severe threat does include everybody in the state. You guys in Wayne County, I'd say your risk is going to be later on this evening, closer to the 6, 7 o'clock time frame, but it's possible anytime today. If storms pop up, they have potential for severe weather. The organized risk, if instability holds together, would be later on this evening for you guys in Wayne. The same thing in Jackson County. For those of you asking for Jackson County, this evening we're watching closely, but again, severe weather is possible with pop-up storms all throughout the afternoon. Just the highest dynamics come together this evening. Same thing for Lenawee County, Sam. The highest dynamics come together this evening, but pop-up storms through the afternoon do have potential for severe weather. Any other questions, guys? What about the thumb? So the thumb right now, again, you're in the clear for now, but storms are possible later on this afternoon and evening. Severe weather is possible for everybody. The thumb would be just outside the highest risk area that we're thinking here. We will release a forecast map to public here within the next hour or so. They just went out to subscribers this morning, so we'll wait about an hour or so for release that to the public. But we do have a risk map coming up that does include pretty much from Grand Rapids over to Flint and south in a higher end, or a highest risk, not a higher end, but a higher risk than up here in the northern part of Michigan. This is your live radar currently looking at some storms pushing in toward the Muskegon area. Now curious if we can pull up a I'm gonna see if I can't pull up a live cam from Muskegon. See if we can't see that storm coming in. Sometimes we'll have live cams on the shoreline. We can kind of get an idea of what the storm looks like before it hits land. See if we can pull one up really quick. Coldwater area, you guys are going to be in the risk again tonight. You're going to be in the higher risk if there is instability present. Later on this evening, closer to the 8 o'clock time frame would be the main time frame for you guys. Although severe weather is possible at any point in time today. We'll go ahead and stress that the overall dynamics do support severe weather starting this afternoon, but the wind shear doesn't ramp up for organization of the storms until later this evening. Yes, Flint will get rain. I don't see any live streams on Muskegon area. I'm sure they exist, but I'm not pulling any yet. Let me see if I can find some more. It's pretty cloudy and hazy up there in Muskegon. Let's see if I can. Oh, it wants me to sign up for commercial use, so I can't do that. All right, we'll forget that idea. All right, well, we have some storms heading up into Muskegon right now. Some small hail is possible, although it might miss Muskegon the way it's going. I don't know. What do you guys think? Will that hit Muskegon here? I might brush it. I think Whitehall, Rothbury up here will get the main brunt of this. The tornadic risk today, Andrew, is quite low. If instability does come together and last into the overnight hours, the risk for tornadoes does increase slightly, just given the amount of wind shear via the increased low-level jet. The jet doesn't really increase until 8 p.m. So, big question with all these rounds of storms is going to be if the atmosphere can recover or if the atmosphere can stay destabilized. Michael asked, how bad will Branch County get it today? So Branch County is in the risk today. I really can't say who's going to see a higher risk across the southern part of the state. All I can really give you is a general area, and Branch County would be in the highest area for severe weather, in my opinion. Wind and hail is your main threat, and then after 8 p.m., the tornado threat could increase if instability is present. But again, it's going to be conditional. Andrew says he's in Coldwater. Yeah, so we have a lot of people from Coldwater all around the Branch County, St. Joseph County area. You guys probably started following us after the Colin tornado, I bet. We have a lot of following from the area now. There's your live shot from Muskegon. 7 minutes ago. So it's really foggy, really hazy up there. Can't really make out much. But that's where the storms are coming in from. So Jim, should I cancel plans to take grandkids to driving in Dowagiac? Ah, boy, that's going to be a tough one. So the overall risk for rain tonight does increase this evening. So there is a good chance it could rain. You may see a few breaks. Giving you a time frame on those breaks of rains is kind of like throwing a dart at a dartboard blind. So there's possibility that it could be dry, but the overall environment does support rain tonight for Dowagiac, and that goes for anybody in southern Michigan today. So if you're going to stay in your car and watch the movie, it may not be a bad idea. But if you want to get out and watch it, probably not a good idea. Any other questions, guys? Still sunny in St. Joseph County. Let's go and check the satellite real quick. Yep, you guys are still sunny there. You got some clouds moving in, though, some high clouds, so that could change here. Looks like the cloud deck is thinning out just slightly, so we'll have to see how that develops. Clear skies already pushing into north central Illinois, so that's awesome to see. If we want severe weather, we'll have to watch this closely. Steve Miller is set to play at the Jackson Fairgrounds tonight. I hope this storm doesn't mess it up. It's possible. The latest NAM 3 model fires off storms from Lansing all the way down to Coldwater, so Jackson, you'd be on deck for those storms right around the 5, 6, 7 o'clock time frame. All right, guys, any more questions before I hop off here? Localized flooding, Al, is possible. Nothing widespread, but localized is definitely possible, especially if we can get thunderstorms to go over the same area multiple times. That'd be the highest area. To pinpoint where that's going to be, though, it's kind of hard. Yes, southeast Michigan is in the threat. This line is moving pretty slow, is it? My speed on this says 50 knots, so not so slow. That's equivalent to about 55 miles per hour, although I don't think it's. These scans are every 3 minutes, so every time this radar moves, it's a 3-minute scan. So it's moving pretty good. I'd say, yeah, 55 miles an hour looks pretty good. All right, so recapping, guys, see a lot of questions for areas and timing and stuff like that. The overall takeaway from today, for those of you asking, is we have a severe risk all day today. Any storms that do pop up this afternoon do have potential for severe weather in the form of wind and hail. That goes for everybody in Michigan. There's not one place that is not included. The overall dynamics for severe weather do get better at 8 o'clock tonight. After 8 o'clock tonight, the severe threat will be highly, I'm going to stress, highly conditional on the amount of instability present. Because we have multiple rounds coming through, we're going to see some uncertainty with the amount of instability present. Just given that when rain comes through, the atmosphere can be destabilized, and then rain comes through, and then it's stable. So it has to have time to destabilize again. And we may have multiple rounds, so it might be hard for storms to get up and going when we have little instability to work with. So we'll be watching that closely today. But if instability does fire up back around the 8 o'clock and after time frame, the severe threat becomes higher then overnight. This afternoon, though, the storms that come through do have potential for severe weather. The wind shear is just not as favorable, so it'd be more like a damaging wind gusts and large hail type of threat via microbursts. But the overall threat today for everybody is on the low end, but we could see it increase again if conditions do come together later this evening. That is going to be everybody there asking. I see a lot of St. Clair, Lake Oregon. I see a lot of people asking Coldwater, Fenton, everybody. What I just said, everybody, you're in the risk today. With that being said, guys, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up on the stream. We would appreciate that. I'm probably going to hop off here. So we'll have a forecast posted for you guys here by, go ahead and say 11 o'clock. Go ahead and schedule it for 11 o'clock. So be on the lookout for that. And for right now, that's all I got. If anything does happen to go severe, we'll be alive on here. We have at least 4 people who plan to be chasing if need be today. We have a stream person, so we'll have a radar operator and also chasers. So watch for us if you want to watch some live chasing. We'll see you out there, guys. Thanks for watching.